in 2 months, we'll be like in the middle of the first round of the playoffs. A couple months past that, or a couple of weeks past that rather, is second round of the playoffs. What do you think we're talking about the Pelicans come that time? Is it like, holy cow, Zion breakout, favorite on the ropes in round 2? Is it, all right, buddy, like, let's see what we can get for Brandon Ingram? What do you think is a more likely kind of conversation that we're going to be having in that time?
I would say historically, I'm a little more pessimistic, given what the Pelicans have gone through. So, like,
why? I mean, I can't imagine why you would feel that way, given what we just talked about.
Who knows? Yeah, there's not any priors informing that. So, I think I would say at this point, the most likely outcome is a first round out, and people wondering what the future of the Zion Williamson Brandon Ingram duo looks like. They're, as a part of the No Cap Room podcast, I'm sure you're aware that Brandon Ingram is due for a 30% max extension this summer. And I think that's a big decision because Trey Murphy is also extension eligible this summer. They don't have to come to a deal there. But those two contracts, if you do lock them in together, will kick in at the same time that following year. And so now you're looking at being a very expensive team without necessarily being a team that has a pathway beyond the first round outside of like internal star improvement, right? Or just internal improvement. And I think that's a tricky position for this market, given their history with the luxury tax. And that's kind of going to define all of their transactions and offseason decisions, unfortunately, but that's just the reality of it. And so if it's a first round out and one or the two of them have a disappointing showing, then I think that noise is going to get very loud. Now, I'm hoping it turns out that these guys are just 16 game players and not 82 game players, right? And we see Zion's ridiculous rim pressure putting teams in all kinds of foul trouble and causing problems. BI's just incredible shot making inside the arc, like keeping the offense like at a high enough level to let their defense take over on the other end, right? And so you're hoping that carries them to a series win, and then you're competitive in the second round against a very good team that makes it out there. It's probably going to be one of those aforementioned high dollar second apron teams that's going to be there. And so then you can tell yourself, like, we didn't pay the tax this year. We were competitive against like a second apron team or someone that's blown past the tax restrictions. Then you can take that to ownership and be like, hey, if you enable this spending, then we can also do that. And so that, in my opinion, would be a great scenario for them.
Either that, or you're looking at, BI and Larry Nance Jr. as a large amount of expiring money and all the picks that are not nailed down for who can be that free big swing target. Yeah, who shakes free, right? Well, okay, I lied. If you get your druthers about that, or your pie in the sky dream of who that person to shake free is, what does that look like for the Pelicans around Zion?
That's so tough because, like, for example, what if it's Giannis that shakes free, right?
Man.
So I'm just here to cause problems, right? I'm just here to cause problems, right?
Well, now I'm concerned about inviting you on my show.
But, so it kind of depends on the guy, right? Because, like, if for whatever reason, like, Giannis is like, I'm tired of Doc, and, I got my extension money, so I got the money, now I can ask out. I think for first and foremost, for that caliber of player, if there is a top 5 caliber of guy shaking free, and you even have the remote possibility of being in those discussions and you have him ruled out because of market, then it doesn't matter who's on your roster. You just do whatever it takes to go get that person, right? And
it's a bet on yourself. Like, you got to just go get him in here, and then we figure it out from there. But you're not going to get that guy otherwise. Right.
And that may involve moving both of Zion and Brandon, right? You move Zion for one of the thing and Brandon for a better fitting thing or whatever. You figure it out, right? And I'm not saying they have to do that. You figure it out. But, like, the second thing is, like, barring something like that, like, it is a little bit difficult to forecast who this next like all NBA type of guy is going to like be. And so if I'm specifically, you're framing it as like building it around Zion. If I'm looking at it like from a Zion centric view and I'm trading Brandon, I think there's a couple things I'm hoping to accomplish. And if I can accomplish one of those things, that'll be a win. And so like I'm either looking for a long-term starting level center that is got the age lined up, the contract lined up, and like the talent lined up. And so I think there's a couple of those guys that might fit the bill, or I'm looking for a long-term solution at the guard spot. Or if the third thing I'd be looking for is to just get contractually younger and buy some of these like not immediate rookie scale guys, but at the tail end of like rookie scale guys who are very good. They're probably due on some money coming soon, but they're ready to contribute now. And then that way your contractual timeline has effectively been reset and you have more time to make decision on the Zion front, who's locked in. And I think, his contract's quite good in terms of the outs that it has. You have a lot of protection on it. And you also will kind of like reset your assets a little bit to where like, okay, if there isn't an immediate star or immediate, like shaker, like, springing loose, then you have a good competitive team. And then the short term that you can have the flexibility to make moves on later when the opportunity arises. And the team I'm kind of focused on that with regards to that is Houston.
Oh, I was going to guess Cleveland, but all right, tell me Houston.
Cleveland is the team, 100%, right? Cleveland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, I'm 100% eyeing what direction they go with those two guys. I think Garland could be a candidate for shaking free as well, and I think that's a tricky fit with CJ McCollum, but
sure.
you can figure that stuff out. But, with regards to Houston in terms of like the contractual reset, they have Şengün, who should be a foundational piece. There's a mixed sense of things coming out from Houston on like how they actually view him. You have Jabari Smith Jr., you have Amen Thompson. You have these guys who I think like, they're not star level guys, but they're young enough. They provide you production at positions of need. You're resetting your contractual timeline. And so you can buy yourself time. And I know they're star hunting. Houston is star hunting big time. So, I think that's the one to look at. But yeah, Cleveland is the other for sure.